All right, we are now live. Greg, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. And
So, hold on. Are those palm trees waving in the background there that I see in the reflection? What's going on here?
yeah, I know I did find a way out of there on Saturday. I heard there was big snow coming, so I
Oh
took
yeah,
off.
we got a lot of snow.
Yeah.
You kind of have like a little glamour effect going on here too, because there's kind of a Miami Vice kind of thing going on here with the reflections and it's a whole
Well,
vibe.
no, yeah.
All right,
Okay. Well,
well,
let me just say that I've been doing this for 48 years and I'm 70 years old, and so I'm not going to
you
apologize.
deserve a little sunshine. All right,
I'm
fair
not
enough, fair enough.
apologizing. So
Yeah,
anyway.
fair enough. All
So
right,
anyway,
so
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and I know that I just saw that you just sent out the recap from last week.
yeah, I just got that out a couple of minutes ago.
Yep, so great. And then I just want to say how much I've enjoyed getting a chance to so far to listen to Jeff Blahnik a couple weeks ago, and I hope that everybody has got a chance to go back in and listen to that. And then last week we had Micah Childress, who is also a wonderful agent. And then tomorrow, we're excited to have Lindsay Dykstra on, who was the number one
Yep.
solo agent in Five Star this past year. And so my hope is that, when you think about what's your goal or what's the why, or the why here is that we want five-star agents to have every opportunity, no excuses, how to price properly, to have the conversation, the nuanced
hmm
conversation,
hmm
realizing that it's not all science and
No.
there's a bit of art to it. I don't remember what Jeff said. Do you remember what Jeff said? What percentage was science versus art?
I don't recall what his actual number was, but I mean, like
It- it-
it's incredible how much of it is a conversation and not just picking a number.
yeah, I
It's
think I think it's 80% science and 20% art. And but again, the goal is that we need and we want to see five-star agents win every time.
hmm
That's ultimately why we're talking about this, is that how can we help five-star agents get a victory on every listing appointment they go to? Is there a way to win 100%
Yeah.
of the time?
Well, if you think about it, it's like this idea that you might have a customer, a client who thinks their home is worth more than it is. Like, welcome to the club,
Yeah,
right? Welcome to the club.
you're right.
You
If
might
you don't expect that, you're going in
Yeah.
with the wrong expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I mean the top agents in our company in any marketplace are always dealing with expectations, misaligned expectations, misunderstandings of the marketplace. It's the art form of being a professional realtor is understanding that is the name of the game. It is not just walking in with a price, slapping it down, being so blown away by your price selection that you now win the listing.
Yeah. So let me just say at this point too that we want to encourage you, if you've got questions, and they can be on the science part or they can be on the art part, right?
Yeah,
And
so like you're saying right now, fire questions in there.
yeah,
Challenge
yeah,
us,
absolutely.
ask
We'd love to
questions.
take if there were any questions. So, um, and remember, you are the expert in the room, and there are pieces and parts of what that means to be the expert, but you are not the decider. And
hmm
what I mean by that is that you are, as Tracy Johnson has said, I'm the advisor. You decide,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah,
get
and
to.
Micah echoed that last week too. He said, "Hey, look, I advise you make decisions. You know,
Yeah.
I don't
So,
pick, I,
so when you think about that, I have heard that there are agents out there. I'm sure they're not in five star because they would never do this, but um, there are things that I don't think you should ever do. And let me just give you two examples. I have heard that agents sometimes say, I guarantee you, or um,
or I would never
never,
do blank, or I would
I would
never
never.
this."
Yes, you should never do that.
Yeah.
And and I think about all these things that I'm aware that have been said before. And so I believe that in this discussion, then if you need to stay away from those big, bold statements and basically have more open statements, open-ended
Hmm.
sentences, uh,
Hmm.
caveats, where you say, based upon what I know today, obviously that could change in the coming days, things could happen. You can use things like, give me an example, Paul, if you're thinking of one right now, but
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, picking an exact listing price. Um, if you're getting a feeling from your customer that as you're going through this kind of marketing or this conversation, you're kind of if you're not reading your clients every single movement right now, I think we need to talk about what you're doing at the listing table. You should be watching and studying them the whole time.
yeah,
But if you start to sense like that maybe they're feeling a little nervous about the way that the pricing conversation is going, I would never go, and that's why I think your home was worth $515,000 and 99 cents.
no appraiser, no realtor can put their finger on a number and say, this is
No.
exactly what your home is worth. So if somebody
No,
does that, you should run. And if
right.
you
And so yeah, so I
they're
think
gonna run.
yeah. I think you should use I think what I would do is I would use those ranges and use that softness to the approach to make yourself more acceptable and more palatable and more hireable to more people.
Yeah.
I'm looking to cut off any angle that you or another competitor could make at the next listing appointment or the previous listing appointment. I'm going to be more like, hey, you know what? The truth is that I don't know the exact sales price. What I do
Yeah.
know is this to be true, and I'm going to position myself as a leader, as an advisor, as a better market professional than you are, because you've just picked a price and not really given your proof. You're not showing your work.
Yep. Another area that I've heard sometimes agents will do, and that is that they'll kind of threaten a little bit, like, well, that's never going to work, or that'll never happen, or
Or
it's
I won't take an overpriced listing.
yeah. So you want to be careful to not use statements that you maybe don't think it's threatening, but it might be coming across as threatening to them. And so, please stay away from
One
anything
thing
like
too,
that.
and
So,
again, I know that we all deal with like staging homes or not staging homes, but one thing too is like sometimes I think and again, I haven't seen a lot of this, but again, I think understanding your customers is really the most important thing. Um, you've heard of the thing like don't sell what's already been sold,
right.
right? If your customer does not want to go through the efforts of painting their home, staging their home, having their carpets cleaned, if your client does not want that hassle, or if that what feels like a hassle, they might not be thinking, they might be like, look, just give me the reality. I don't have the energy to do the things you think I should do to get top
Yeah.
dollar.
That's a huge area, Paul, and I don't know why we haven't touched on it yet until now, but discerning, understanding, and the only way you can discern and understand is by asking questions, right?
Right. Because someone might think you might think you're giving them great advice to paint the home, and we're going to put some of this, and I'm going to bring some decorating in, and I'm going to do this, and we're going to do that. And we're going to change out this light fixture and all these kinds of things. And they might just go, no, no,
Oh,
but you might be running away with it so fast. They're just like, whoa, and maybe you're turning them off at this time. So I just think that that's an interesting thing that can happen sometimes. I've
I've
seen.
heard stories about from sellers that have said, if this agent comes in and tells me I've got to do something, he's out.
I'm not
He's
hiring
out.
them. Yeah,
Nope. If they try to tell me that I've got to start spending money and spending time, I'm out of here. So you better figure that out
right.
before you start going down that road.
Yep.
Even though it might be a good conversation, it might
And
be
you
the
might
wrong
you might
one.
think that's your value add. You might go, but what I do is I can make your home worth more because if I get a crew
Yeah.
in here and we redo your house, we'll sell it for more. And that's wonderful. But and keep doing that, but just be discerning to make sure that you understand the customer you're talking to.
So, so when I was active out there, I mean, I know I use this statement a lot, but it was like, in my humble opinion, And and to me, that just allows you space. It's real.
Yeah.
Um, it's
I,
not
I used I use things like I would use things like, you know what, I don't have the magic 8 ball, but I
right.
think this is our range. I could be
Crystal,
wrong. The
the
market could
crystal
surprise
ball. I
us.
don't have the crystal ball,
I don't have
right?
the crystal ball, but I think
Yeah.
this is our range. The market can always surprise us going both directions, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking of something else and I just lost my train of thought.
Well, I think what just kind of reflecting on the past 2.5 weeks here, what I've realized is that even when we were kind of talking about doing this pricing video, it was very interesting some of the reactions on why would we spend a month talking about pricing? Isn't it just like, running some comps and getting your price per square foot and looking at 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath, whatever? Like, isn't it just kind of comparing houses to houses? Isn't that really what we're doing, finding apples and things like this? But I guess what I realized is like the amount of time that you and I have spent just having these conversations about pricing with no camera present whatsoever, where we've discussed the nuances I mean, I just think that learning to talk about pricing like we've been talking the past 3 weeks, learning to talk about the marketplace, like having this, like accepting there's a huge nuance in this world of pricing, and it's both mental, it's everything. It's subjective, it's objective, it's all of it. I think the more that you get comfortable discussing pricing, it won't be so weird talking about pricing with your customers either. It'll come up more naturally at the listing table. So the more that you can talk to your best friend about pricing, like how's pricing going on, you discuss pricing with them. Practice saying these pricing words. You know what I mean? You and I have said these words so many times they can just roll off the tongue. And I think you have to find ways in your own life to talk about pricing with people so that it comes out naturally. It's like, um, not that you are anything remotely close to Stephen Curry, but the video with Stephen Curry, the basketball player, where, he will not leave the basketball court before he makes 100 shots. And if he misses one, he starts over. It's because he wants to be so good at making 100 shots that when he gets back into the game, the chances of him making that shot are just higher.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I just practice using the words.
I just thought of another one of those statements that I've heard people make, and I don't really think they have thought through how it is being perceived from the other side. And here it is. If I were going to be honest right now,
If I were being honest,
if
like,
I
what
were
does that
being
mean,
honest
Greg?
right
You've
now,
not been honest for the past hour?
so what am I supposed to think when somebody says that to me? Who am I dealing with? If I were to be honest,
Yeah.
if you say that, I would try to get rid of that real quickly.
Yeah, it's a funny one, right? You could say things like, to be frank, which I think is different than being honest, right? To be frank means like, if I could be so bold.
Right.
And I think we all know what we mean when we say, if I can be honest, or if I'm being honest, but I think that you're right. The connotation is like, if I'm being honest with you, like maybe I haven't always been honest with you. I think it's a pretty good observation.
So we don't ultimately, again, to once again just say what it is that we're about right now, and that is that we don't want any five-star agent to be able to walk into a
Yep.
listing and say, I didn't know, I didn't understand. No one had ever spoken to me about these things. Um, we also, at the same time, while we're doing that, we're bringing you into the world of some of the top agents who have been extremely successful for a long period of time, and they are willing to share their insights into pricing, which is, I mean, that's worth gold. And if you haven't, you should really go back, watch Jeff Blahnik's talk, watch Micah Childress's talk,
Hmm.
and show up here tomorrow for Lindsay Dykstra. And you get a chance to ask a top agent. And by the way, all of them have said that they would be willing to answer questions even going forward.
Yeah, and I think that both Jeff and Micah have jumped in on some of those chats and some of those threads. But
Yeah. So anyway, you know what? I don't want to belabor it any longer, unless you've got anything that you wanted to
no,
mention
I just think I just think my encouragement would be to think about like some of these words. Think about your conversations that you've had with your customers over the past couple of years or however long you've been in the business. And yeah, just think about the language you use. Think about how you're positioning yourself. Think about the ones you've won, the ones you've lost. And like, I just think there's so much in being reflective and kind of thinking about your wins and your losses and really trying to understand them. And I'm always about improving. Like, if we can get a little better at this conversation and you can get 10% more of the listings you go out for, and then you can keep going and keep going and keep going. It sounds like a small shift, but it's huge over time, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I was just thinking of something else and about the percentages that you get, and it's like, oh, I know people will say things like, well, this is the way I've always done it.
Hmm.
And it's like when I hear that, I immediately think, well, how's that working for you? And the reason I say, I mean, there's so many things that haven't changed, but there are a lot of things that have changed. And while you maybe did it a certain way a few years ago, well, there's the world continues to change. People still have the same needs. People still have the same conversations. But
Okay.
can you get better? Can you improve? Can you change? And I've always been someone that has been willing to expose myself to new learning by going to podcasts or books or whatever. And there's so much good information out there. You don't have to wait for us to talk about any of this stuff. There's so much information you could go learn about pricing today, probably
Yep.
far better than what we're putting out here right now by experts who are out there doing it every day. And all you need is one idea that you can implement. I've always said, just give me one new idea. I can go to a 3-day seminar, and if I can come away with one thing that I can come back and implement, that's
Yep.
victory. So
Yep.
hopefully somebody's getting that one thing over these 3 weeks, and we're looking
Well,
for.
we got a question here, Greg. You want to take one?
Sure.
All right. So first off, I'm going to show you guys this video. I'm going to post this video so you guys can see the Stephen Curry video that I referenced here. So there's that. I just posted that. But we got a question here from Allison. Allison, so she goes, so what do you say when your client says they want a certain amount of money and they know it's overpriced and you know it's overpriced and you're competing for the listing?
What was the last one?
All right. So what do you say when you're sitting there at the table with a seller? They know it's overpriced. They know they're asking you for an overpriced listing. You know they're asking for an overpriced listing, and you know there's other agents competing for the listing.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you, I think the first thing that I would do is I would actually I'd get them to verbalize that yes, we all understand that this is kind of taking a flyer, and I'm willing to take that flyer with you, and I want you to know that um, I will work just as hard on this as I would if you priced it at the number that I think it should be at, because I want you to have every opportunity to get. Maybe there's that buyer out there that will see something in this home that is that fits better than anything else they're seeing, and maybe
Yep.
they'll strike a chord. And
Yep.
I'm not somebody who can say that it won't happen. So I'm willing to go down that road with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going down that road in a way that where I'm pulling back. I'm going with you. I'm on
Yeah.
your side. And I don't want you to think for half a second that I'm not going to work hard and protect your interest and advocate for your price. I'm
Okay.
not sure what the others would do. That'd be my first part.
Okay.
How
Is
about
there a
you?
second part? You want me so my first part would say, yeah, so we clearly have a big task ahead of us here. I think we both agree that like the price we're going for is it's up there. It's probably near the nosebleeds. You know, it's gonna be up there. You're aware of it, I'm aware of it. So what I would tell you right now is like it's important that you know that at this point we're not really price shopping because the price that we're picking here, it doesn't matter which realtor. What I'm saying is you're not looking for a realtor who's going to price out your property because we know we're already pushing the boundaries of what's possible. You're looking for the right realtor now. So take price off the table. You're looking for the best realtor that can help you get there. And I think I'm the one for you. And for all the same reasons that you just said, Greg, I think you should be shopping for a realtor, not price at this point. I think what I would love to do is like get your home on the market, give it an absolute push. I mean, I'll hold an open house on week one. I'll get a just listed postcard out to all the neighbors because half the time it's a neighbor who can bring us in a great buyer. They know somebody, they want to get in the neighborhood, so we'll make sure we hit them. And then what we're going to want to do though, guys, I just want to be realistic here. What's your timeline? What are your expectations for me as a professional? I just want to make sure you understand there's only so much we can do to draw people through the door here when we're pushing that price that high. And I'm just going to try to have a very, very honest conversation. My goal is going to be to get the listing. I want the listing. I want to sign in the yard. But at some point, if they're just like, I'm never lowering the price, Greg. Just so you know, I'll stay.
Yep.
I think at that moment, if the conversation going back and forth is almost hostile, like I don't really care who you are, I don't really care what realtor you guys I bring in here, you're all nameless and faceless. If that's the approach of the seller, I'm probably not a great fit.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think where you're going a little bit is that you're deciding whether or not this is somebody that you want to have a relationship with going forward.
Yeah, I'm kind of saying if I can get something from them that shows me that like one, you guys understand we're up against a giant massive boulder. Two, you're gonna be realistic on timing. Three, you're not gonna hold me to the flame like I can like just sprinkle magic fairy dust on this thing. Like what's your level of seriousness? What's your level of being in touch with reality? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort of push and be like, hey, so like let me ask you guys this question. If we're out here for 90 days and we have no offers, no bites, no nibbles, what do you guys think we should do? If they're like, find a new realtor. Okay. All right. I know what I'm up against. I know I'm going to spend money, I'm going to spend time, I'm going to spend effort, and they're not going to work with me on price. But if they start to go, I mean, if we get nothing, Paul, I mean, I think we'd be open to revisiting this, but we really want to give this number a really good try. Now I'm like, okay, you have me. I'm with you. So I'm nudging, I'm watching, I'm pushing a little bit, I'm seeing if there's a crack. I'm being doing it gently, but I'm feeling this situation out. I'm feeling this person out to figure out, are you going to be an absolute like sociopath about this, or are you going to be real at some point?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to, it's important to understand that if we do this, we need to be aware that we're probably going to have it's going to limit the activity. And the reason it's going to limit the activity is that I would go down this road, that like we agreed up front that we probably all believe it's too high. So what do you think the buyers are going to think?
Yeah, do you think that well, sometimes you might meet a seller who's
They
like,
don't know
well,
what you know.
if they want it, they'll buy it. If they want it, they'll pay for it. They'll say something like this. Um, I guess you're just testing the waters, right? You're testing the waters. You're like, okay. I mean, I've dealt with sellers like this who have said, Paul, we've fired three realtors before. We're not afraid to fire a fourth. And you know what happened? I got fired. They told me, they said, we're not afraid to fire a realtor. We've fired three realtors before. I took a 7-day honeymoon with my wife to Sweden, was available by phone and email. Had we known you were taking a vacation, we would never hired you. Fired me while I was on my vacation. Um, so I think the lesson is like I always want the listing. I always want this listing. Okay. I'm gonna fight for every listing until I get to the point where I'm like, I think I'm dealing with a crazy person. I'm no longer interested in the listing. That's rare.
If this person is influential, if this person is connected, um, I would probably take it and run with it.
Mhm.
Um, I've often thought to myself, okay, I feel like they're using me a little bit. I'm my time, my money, the likelihood of payment is slim to none. But
Mhm.
my thinking has always been then at that moment, well, is this potentially going to lead to something else? Am I
Yeah,
going to have an open house? Am I going to meet somebody new? Am I going to get a call am I going to meet a new buyer?
absolutely. I
I
mean,
might go at it a
think about
different.
this. Greg, what if you go, all right, this is a nice neighborhood, nice buyer, I mean, sorry, nice neighborhood, nice, it's a great property. So what if you do this? What if you say, rather than holding an open house, you go, I'd like to host a neighborhood and family and friends, coworkers event only. I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring in some cocktails. I'm gonna bring in some charcuterie. I'd like to show off the home around sunset. Can I invite your entire neighborhood? We'll get some barbecue, whatever, and invite all the neighbors. Like, remember, when I'm holding an open house, like, yes, I would love to sell this house, but I'm really wanting people to interview me when they're coming into my open house. I'm hoping that you'll hire me when you meet me at this open house. That's my goal of every single open house. Of course, I want to
And
sell the property, but I want to meet you, and you don't even know you want to meet me yet, but hopefully once you leave the open house, you're like, I'm glad I met that guy. So,
as a business person, Paul,
yes,
we're always trying to leverage, to get to make connections.
right.
And so
Yeah,
then
so turn it into a win. Like, I mean, you might
yeah,
not sell this property, but what other, can you use it as a win? Could you meet seven neighbors who have $1 million homes?
and have the integrity to do all the things that you said you would do, and even treat it like if it was somebody that was, who was priced very well.
Hmm.
Thing, do it. Don't let them
Yeah.
walk going saying, well, yeah, they said they do it, but then they didn't really do anything. I didn't
You know,
see
and
any effort. They never called us. They never showed us
I
anything.
agree. You're playing a long game, I think, at that point, and I think that's what Jeff Blahnik was chatting about too. How he says he very rarely will walk away from a listing. So, Greg, there was one time where I had a buyer, okay, who said, I've got a distant third cousin twice removed who lives 2 hours away, who told me he would sell our house for free if I use him to buy our next property. And this was like a family friend, right?
Yeah.
This was someone you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I remember walking into your office and I was so pissed. I was so livid. I was like, can you believe this? By the way, we buy insurance from this person. And I'm like, can you believe this? We're one of his customers even. And you looked at me and you said, Paul, this is not this is poor form on their part, sure. But there's a lot of money to be made here through relationships, through future relationships, through referrals. And you know what? I ended up selling the house for free. And it was painful, but I did it. And you know what? I have received many referrals from that person. I've sold siblings properties. I've resold that person multiple properties beyond that. So as frustrated as I was in that moment, and someone could have said to me, Paul, why would you have ever sold yourself short like that? You should have had enough self-respect to walk away. I don't think business is that black and white. And I think that's what you're kind of saying with this pricing thing. It's like it's not always about I'm the genius with the price and I can price it right and I'll never take an overpriced listing because I'm not a, I'm not going out there working for free or whatever, right? And I just think it's important, like you're kind of highlighting that you never know what comes around the corner when you take these opportunities and you give this thing a chance. You just
Well,
don't.
hopefully we answered that for Allison.
Yeah, we gave you the long-winded version there, Allison.
That's the scary part when you actually come to us. You may actually get a long-winded
I don't
response.
think you and I are ever extremely brief. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, so I think what we're emphasizing right now is that this pricing conversation is full of nuances. It's full of different areas where you can take an overpriced listing and you can win. Right? It's like how creative are you?
Yeah. It's a vast conversation. It's big. So anyway, well, hey, I think we're there, and I'm looking
I
forward
think
to
we're there.
tomorrow and to hear what Lindsay has to say and what she does and how she does it, and whether she's got philosophical things or
Yep.
scientific things. We're
Yep.
we're excited to hear it. So
Yep. Well, thank you everybody for joining us and for week three, the kickoff for week three. If you haven't seen it yet, the week two recap is available. Um, yeah, we'll see you guys all tomorrow with Lindsay Extra. Bring your tough questions. We'll try and shoot them over to her. So thanks,
see
guys.
you later.
Bye.